Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Grammy-nominated jazz vocalist Denise Donatelli. She gave us the full story on her new 2021 CD, Whistling in the Dark, the music of Burt Bacharach. Her musical journey started in rural Allentown, Pennsylvania, where she was only 4 years old with classical piano training, and that continued through her high school years. It was her subscriptions to both Columbia and Capitol music clubs that gave her access to a large collection of jazz albums. After a move to Atlanta, she turned to singing professionally and has never looked back. She's been quite busy, and she explains all of that and more. Enjoy the story.
Thank you for taking a minute out to the show today. I appreciate it.
Oh, my gosh. Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Absolutely. You bet. So, Whistling in the Dark, the music of Burt Bacharach. Talk to me a little bit about, we've been in this kind of dark period with COVID since March of 2020, and now that new material comes out, there's a chance for live performance. What does it mean kind of overall to have music out right now for people to listen to?
Oh, my gosh. It's everything. In fact, I was just looking at my label, Savant Records, Savant and High Note Records. They put out a ton of new music this past year. When everybody was, we thought everybody was quarantining and staying in the home, and no, it didn't work out that way. Everybody was out recording. I was amazed to see how many. In fact, when we did that was kind of a spur of the moment recording that we did. I had been talking with Larry Klein for, I don't know, maybe a year or so, 2 years. I mean, we would get together and have lunch and throw around some ideas and just couldn't really settle on anything. Then I get a call from Larry out of the blue, and he said, I was on the phone with a friend of mine. He said, Larry, can I put you on hold? I need to take this call. It's Burt. And that's when he got the idea. So he contacted me, and I said, sure, let's do it. But I have to tell you, I mean, we were, I had Larry Goldings on piano, Anthony Wilson on guitar, Vinnie Colaiuta on drums, and Larry on bass. And I think this was probably the first time any of us were out of the house. And we were kind of, it was weird. It wasn't weird. It was just very odd to be out in a studio, especially when we did it. We did it in the height of COVID. It was last October. We took a week, and that was it. It was the fastest recording I've ever done.
It had to be cathartic, though, to be able to tap back into what we were missing so much. I mean, because this just jolted, especially the world of musicians, I think, harder than anybody else.
Oh, it certainly did. Fortunately, I'm married, and my husband, is here to support me. But I don't know what anybody, who's self-supporting musicians, I don't know how they did it, how they survived.
The only thing that I can assume from conversations I had looking at what was going on, even small businesses where I'm at, it had to have been all of these loans that went out. That's the only thing that I can assume,
right.
The loans and grants. Yeah, but other than that, I get it. I did talk to some local musicians that amassed quite a retirement/savings reserve over the years, and it's gone. It literally, even with the help that they got from the government, it's just gone. So, and I think that's the thing that got me the most about the world of music and art and Broadway is that all of these other places like baseball and sports and whatnot all got back to it. But there was this hesitancy with the arts world, and there still kind of is. So, it is very refreshing to see that things are kind of opening up. So are things opening up for you to promote this album and get back at it?
They are. In fact, I'm doing a live stream next week. We're going to do it from the house. It's through the LA Jazz Society. Yeah, we're going to do it from the house. I've got Larry Goldings and Kevin Axt on bass and LA guitarist Larry Coons. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to make it a little holiday soiree.
This time of quarantine and lockdown was really reflective for all of us. What did you learn about yourself that maybe you didn't realize before that's going to make you stronger now as we all kind of reemerge more?
That's a really good question. we just do what we have to do just to survive. I have learned that I'm not going to take things for granted anymore. It was quite a year and a half. I mean, and we're still not out of it. You know, we're still being very careful. I really don't know how to answer that. What have I?
You did totally answer it. So let me go back to something easier. Talk to me a little bit about your childhood and how the roots of not only singing and music came in, but more specifically jazz.
Well, I grew up in way out in the boonies, and there was nothing around us. I had not your typical neighborhood. We were out in the country of Allentown, Pennsylvania. I have two older sisters, and my mother and father, they were born in New York, Brooklyn. My father could play the piano by ear, and my mother was a singer before she met and married my father. In fact, my uncles used to whisk her out of the house. They used to sneak her out of the house so that she could go and she sang on the radio. And, you know, my grandparents were old school Italians, so my grandfather just really didn't want her out there singing. Hence, you know, this is why my uncles kind of snuck her out, because she loved music and loved to sing. Fast forward, my dad got married, moved the family, my two older sisters, to Allentown, Pennsylvania, and while she was pregnant with me, my older sister, since we were out in the country and we really didn't have access to music stores, my older sister loved jazz, and we subscribed to the Capitol and Columbia music clubs. Back then, they would just ship out all new releases. You know, once you check off your genre of music, they'll just continue to send out. That's what I did. I mean, I studied music as well. I studied, I was a classical pianist. I took classical piano lessons for 17 years. I'm sorry, not 17, almost. I was 17 when I stopped. I started playing at 3. This is what I did in my spare time. I listened to Ella Fitzgerald, Carmen McRae, Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross. I mean, all this great music just came into our mailbox. That was my foundation. And then when I got into high school, when I was a senior, I decided that classical performance was not my thing. In fact, Keith Jarrett took lessons from our piano teacher, and I remember sitting in the back seat of the car, my mother driving him to our music club recitals. Yeah, it was it was interesting. I appreciate the fact that my parents exposed me to all this great music.
What was the first live jazz show you ever saw that really made you think that's what I want to do with my life?
Oh my goodness. I had I was married, and my then husband moved the family I have my 2 sons, moved us to Atlanta, Georgia. He needed to be there. I was in the medical field, and he needed to be close to the CDC. And then a subsequent divorce after that. I started working at Turner Broadcasting. But this is my day job. I wasn't performing. I'm a late bloomer here. I wasn't doing any performance. I started dating a musician, a pianist. He overheard me singing. Yeah, I'd sing in the car or whatever, but never would I ever have I think all my younger performances as classical music, and I just thought performing was just not for me. He took me to a jazz jam in Atlanta, and Russell Malone was on the bandstand. You know, all the artists who lived in Atlanta at the time, they would just come out and play and just hang. He put my name down for me to sing, and I was furious with him, frankly. I was just stunned when they called my name, and I thought, oh my God. So I got up and I sang, and it just so happened that the music director from the Ritz-Carlton downtown was in the audience, he called and asked if I would want to come down and sing with the trio. Apparently, Francine Reed was their resident singer, and she was going on the road with Lyle Lovett. And he was looking for a vocalist. So I did. I went down, and I ended up doing that for about 5 years. That's really where I cut my teeth. Very shy. I have to say, very shy.
Yeah. The most gregarious, outspoken people that we know about have typically, historically, been shy. I heard stories about how JFK was terrified to talk publicly, but you would never know that, you know.
Right. I guess that was before the teleprompter for for JFK, you know.
Right.
Somebody with cue cards, you know, and he would just read. But I mean, it's really. It's something. I know a lot of people who absolutely love to be out there and love to sing, and just, you know, they're just born performers. But I don't know. I think maybe, you know, if we want to really get into the weeds in this, I think maybe the classical piano performances just killed me. You know, I think that it really takes a special type of person to be able to do that, and it's terrifying. It gives me. I still get nervous. You know, I mean, I still get a little nervous, but it actually helps. I think. It keeps your performance up, so to speak.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, things have obviously worked out. You've been Grammy nominated. What does that mean to you? I mean, you know, it's a late in life thing. What were nominations that big like for you? How did that affect your career and your outlook on what you were doing?
Well, you know, as they say, it's always an honor to be recognized by your peers, which it truly is. I mean, I was completely stunned. Never, ever did I ever expect anything like that. And I remember the first time was it was the second recording I did with Jeffrey Keyser, and the first one was When Lights Are Low. That was back in 2012, I think. But I remember I was going to a restaurant to meet up with some friends, and never even thought about the Grammys at all, and we were just going out to hang. And there were a bunch of singers there, and also Bill Cunliffe, pianist, was sitting at the bar. Ironically, he was there. It was a neighborhood hang, and as I was in the car driving over, Jeffrey called me and said, you know, he said, "Don't say anything." He said, "But I just heard from." I don't know who he heard it from, but he said, I'm nominated for, I got the nomination for the arrangement of Don't Explain, and that was from the When Lights Are Low album. And so, of course, that reminded me that nominations were being announced. So anyhow, so we're there, hanging, having dinner with my friends. Someone said, "Oh, you know, the nominations are announced." So they looked on their phone, and that's when they told me that I was nominated, that the album was nominated as well. So, and Bill Cunliffe also got a nomination for his work, for his album. So it was a fun night. I mean, after everyone left, Bill and I just stayed there and hung and drank and celebrated. So it was fun, you know. I'm just totally stunned, and it means a lot. You know, I can't say that it doesn't. It truly meant a lot. And also the subsequent albums that I did, Soul Shadows, that also was nominated. I did that with Keyser as well. Then the last one that I did with Keyser, Find a Heart, that was also nominated. So we were on a roll, you know. It was a good time, good roll.
What do you like the best about this profession that you're in? Being a singer and being a professional musician, what's the greatest part of it for you?
Oh my goodness, it's a very loving tight-knit community, the jazz community. We support each other, or at least we hope to, and it's everyone knows everybody. It's I know musicians from, when you perform in other cities, you pick up a band there. It's almost impossible to tour with your musicians, with your band. It's not financially feasible. So, depending upon the cities that you go to, you meet so many great, and you play with so many great musicians. I think the last time I was in Kansas City was with, I got Don Braden on sax, and Ed Howard. I got him to come from he lives in New Jersey. So we had a good time. I mean, it's fun. We took a road trip and we just toured.
Everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your fans, but ultimately you have a perception of yourself, an idea of who you are. Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are? The end credits.
Oh my God. Who do I think I'm a good person, Joe.
Good. I like that.
And I'm fun. Yeah. And I don't take a whole lot seriously. Maybe I should. But, if I did that, I'd look like I was 100 years old. No, everything, who do I think I am? I'm modest. My husband thinks I'm modest to a fault. He would like me to be a little bit more, that's not confident isn't the word, but more, maybe confident, maybe my, maybe more confident in my ability. But, overall, I'm a good person. I mean, that's who I think I am.
That's great. Right to the point. Denise, thank you for taking a minute out from Neon Jazz to talk about the music and your life in it. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Joe. It was a pleasure. I so appreciate it.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest singers in Atlanta, New York City, LA, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Denise for her time and music. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.